Alright, I am back with the Destiny 2 video. You may or may not have noticed that I've been gone for 2 weeks. 1 week my daughter was sick and I was taking care of her most of the day. And then I was gone for a week. But now I'm back and I am able to do some more videos. I wasn't sure what to do until I saw that today is the 5th anniversary of Beyond Light. And I'm not going to talk about Beyond Light. I'm going to talk about the Content Vault, because that is also the day that Bungie took away a lot from Destiny, and it's a decision that still reverberates to this day. Okay, the Destiny Bulletin posted this. They removed 5 raids, 3 campaigns, 6 destinations, and then the rest isn't listed, but a bunch of strikes and Crucible maps and stuff like that. To this day, everyone is still upset that happened. Bungie said at the time it was pretty much entirely for technical reasons. They could not sustain managing that much stuff, and also they were doing a bunch of overhauls to the existing stuff, and they couldn't do like literally everything, they said. The problem being is that they took away pretty much the first 2 years of content from the game, and that really kind of destroyed the new player onboarding experience. The issue became that new players would show up and have to start at some random point in the story. Eventually they did this little Shahan introductory thing, but you have missed like the entire point of the early parts of the game, including the Red War invasion, and then the story of the best DLC, arguably the best, Forsaken. It's a disaster. I mean, they never should have done this to the extent that they did. And I think it is the singular mistake that Destiny has made over the course, well, Destiny 2, I don't know, all of Destiny really, because this wasn't really a thing in Destiny 1, has made over the course of its lifespan. I think this is much worse than sunsetting. Sunsetting is different than content vaulting. Sunsetting is kind of depreciating stuff that is still in the game. It is often said in relation to weapons and armor. I did understand more why they did that in the past. It was like kind of clumsy and it didn't feel good, but that at least had a kind of like okay reason of, you know, some stuff is just not, they can't just keep buffing stuff forever. They did eventually kind of undo that, but that said, most people are using, you know, new weapons to a certain extent rather than super old stuff outside of just nostalgia. And I've called the rest of the game right now, besides like the portal, or pretty much the rest of the game, sunset, because it has really no appreciable value given the direction the game has gone now. Content vaulting is different, where they remove stuff outright, and there should have been a way to at least save the most important stuff. And by that, I mean the campaigns. I think the campaigns were something that were absolutely necessary to try to keep. And the campaigns would also mean you have to keep the destinations that are from those campaigns. That would be, I can't even list them, but all the original ones that were from the game. I would probably include Curse of Osiris and Warmind in there, but if we had to cut something, maybe those. The raids would certainly be nice for veteran players. The strikes, the Crucible maps, we did lose all of that. Obviously, it would be great if all of that stayed, but if there was this like technical limitation or whatever, they should have been able to keep Red War and Forsaken, because that would have been at least some level of a player onboarding experience that made any amount of sense, where you could do the base game and then you just do all the expansions in a row and catch up to whatever year of seasons you're in, and that's, you know, at least something. Whereas now, I still, to this day, I still don't even know where to tell people to start. Like Beyond Light is the one now. Shadowkeep got content vaulted, right? I don't even remember. God. And sometimes I tell people to start Witch Queen just because it's like a good DLC and it's got a good story, but like obviously you're missing just enormous amounts of context for that. And it's a game that, you know, removes all of the internal stuff. I don't think most people are asking that every single season be saved, but if there was a way to keep those campaigns, I think that would have been the right move to do. It's too late to do it now. Some people are saying that, they got to bring the Red War out of the vault. Like, they got to unvault all this stuff and they got to reprise more Destiny 1 raids. Like, the time for that has come and gone. I don't see any real benefit to the game past some cursory things that unvaulting, all that stuff would do at this point. Maybe outside of a Crucible map here and there, or the one Gambit map that's left. Did they already do that? It's too late now. Like, you can't really spend that time and money to devote resources to that, to do something that is not really going to work at this stage. It's been 5 years since this happened, and there have been so many missed opportunities to recapture like old people who left from after D1, or to bring new people on board D2. It's like the time is gone, and they have really not improved the new player experience almost at all, which is something that the game has struggled with probably the most out of anything. And they realized that this was so bad that, like, okay, we're not going to sunset any expansion content again because we realize how much it carves out of it. Would the game have been, saved if this happened? No, but it would have been a lot easier to tell people, yes, you can come and you can rejoin and you can catch up. And it's true that you can catch up now. You're just like starting on like chapter 3 of a book, and already there's some pages missing as you go forward, but at least you would have had the setup. At least you would have had the introduction to what this entire saga was. Bungie tried to say that like the entire Light and Dark saga began with Shadowkeep. I think they didn't sunset Shadowkeep, right? So they that's where you find the first pyramid, and that's where the Light and Dark saga starts. No, that's bullshit. They just did that because of a way to excuse content vaulting. It starts with D1 technically, but it definitely starts with the Red War. And Destiny 2 reviewed better than Destiny 1 at launch because the Red War campaign was actually pretty good. Like, it certainly was better than the garbled mess that was the Destiny 1 campaign. And it's just hard to imagine that in hindsight that really, I can't think of another game that has done this to this extent. And I think it was a symptom of leadership at the time solving kind of a technical problem with Sledgehammer rather than Scalpel. There should have been some pretty obvious clues that deleting the entire base campaign of your game and the expansion, which people paid for, incidentally, if you read the fine print, technically they do have the right to do that, and you can't sue them for that, but it was clearly a giant mistake. And it's not even like they can just put it back now. Like, that was dismantled. There's this like goofy ass Red War lawsuit where this guy's suing because, I don't know, he's got some sort of almighty ship and he has Cabal war beasts in his book that was never actually published. I don't know. But the point, like, to defend themselves in court, Bungie said they can't even have a playable version of the Red War campaign because it doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist internally. So it's in such a state that, like, it's not they just like literally put it in a vault and it's on a disk somewhere. It's just gone. Whatever happens with Destiny in the future, at least they're not going to do that again with expansions. I assume this also means the tiny expansions that we're doing now. And because there's no seasons in between them, I guess people aren't missing as much anymore because they're not doing these seasonal storylines and taking out content from those. The 11 lines of dialogue that Ash and Iron has probably does not count as that. It's kind of weird to look back on this now. It seemed like a bad idea at the time. That was like kind of at the apex of one of the best eras of Destiny 2, where it was Season of Arrivals, all the pyramids were there, but then the pyramids were there because they were a story reason to erase the planets and moons and stuff that they were hovering over. So as cool as it was in the game, it was this very awkward attempts to kind of write in why this vaulting happens, and then eventually some places were unvaulted and some places were like a simulation, and it's just a really kind of clunky way to do it, which I guess they had to try to explain it somehow, but it was awkward at best. We have gotten a couple things unvaulted. I think we've gotten more Destiny 1 stuff just ported into Destiny rather than things that are actually unvaulted. Again, I think we're past the point of like, oh, if Bungie, unvaulted Leviathan or like the raid layers or something like that, that this would be some big event. I think you would have 2% of the population play that a couple times and then not do it again. I think you could unvault the Red War campaign and Forsaken and have that draw 2% more new players than you have otherwise, and maybe you have some people play it for nostalgia's sake. You could do something kind of cool where at least you introduce like the tier system to those weapons or something, but it's not going to happen right now. They don't have the resources to do this. They need all the resources to keep Destiny going in some form or another, like right now. And there's just really no more looking back. It never should have happened in the first place. And if it was going to be undone, it needed to be like a year or two later at most, not now when it's way too late. I have called for them to unvault the Red War campaign before, but I don't even remember when that was. But as time has gone on, it just has become abundantly clear that it's not going to happen, nor would it really do that much if it did happen. So I guess we'll move forward where there kind of isn't going to be constant vaulting as far as we know now. All of the old stuff happened, the seasons and episodes get taken out, but again, there's nothing really here anymore except expansions. Maybe they'll rotate portal content. I mean, they're obviously rotating portal content in and out, so that's like some remnants of seasons, but it doesn't come with the seasonal loot and all this stuff. But at least story wise, I guess the game will continue forward in a much more abridged fashion because you're not having 9 weeks of seasonal story 4 times a year or 3 times a year with episodes. It's just going to be a much more shrunken down story, just like the game is a lot more shrunken down in general now. So bad anniversary. Hopefully it's a mistake they never make again. They seem to have learned from it, but they seem to have learned from a lot of things, and that doesn't always pan out. So anyway, good to see you guys again, so to speak. Yeah, I will hopefully be back to making videos more regularly now. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.